Respect is a very big thing. Now, you can disrespect me all you want. That's perfectly fine. If that's who you are, then that's who you are. No downplay to you, no disrespect to you at all. But I've never been the type to ever talk smack. I just honestly don't see no purpose in talking smack to someone, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna earn your respect the same way you're gonna earn
It all
mine.
comes out in the ring.
Exactly. Like how can you hate on someone that's respecting you for giving you your all?
Yeah.
You can't. I'm not gonna hate on you. You came out here, you fought me. I came out here, I fought you. So why can't we just shake hands and just be respectful?
I kind of feel like most of it is show, to be honest with you. But like, I've got a history of training, and some of the people that are still around, I know some of them, and it's real, man. They're actually just not nice people.
You're listening to Musings with Morales, brought to you by Dialysis Education Services.
Welcome to Musings with Morales, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 12th of June, and we're sitting with a special guest, Sovankesa Som. And he's a local homegrown champion in the sport of Kunkamai, which is
it's the art of Cambodia, the home art, traditional martial arts of Cambodia.
Is there a special circuit for this style of fighting?
Not really so much of a special. It's a special circuit. Not really many people know about it, but now I'm starting to show the world and show the people. So people are starting to understand what it is. And
so where are these fights where we would talk about using this art? Are they in like kickboxing fights, Muay Thai fights? Where exactly do you?
Kickboxing fights, Muay Thai fights as well. As people know it out here in the States, they know it as Muay Thai. Well, around the world as well, they know it as Muay Thai. Mm-hmm. In the translation for Muay Thai, it's the art of 8 limbs, but for us, it's the art of 8 doors. Like we call it doors. Mm-hmm. It's the openings and closings. So, yeah.
And then you're also in the mixed martial arts as well, right?
Yes, I am. I just recently transitioned.
Okay, so that's a recent move.
Yeah.
We really want to kind of take a look at these accomplishments, and we'll rattle off all of the stats and stuff in a bit. Right. But when I think of an elite athlete, martial artist, a basketball player, football player, a businessman, an elite salesman, there's a lot that goes into it. You see like the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
When you see a fight, when you see somebody go and close a deal, when you see somebody on Instagram, talking about success, but like what happens before there? So take us through, where were you born? Where'd you grow up? What were some of the pivotal moments in life that framed to where you're at today? Without getting too much into the professional side of things, because we'll dive deep into that.
No, of course. I was born in Long Beach, California, and born and raised in the East Side, as we would call that. Where I was raised at was a very tough area. Mm-hmm. So then that's when I got into. I was already introduced to it already. So, but as far as where I'm from, it's very tough rural area. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as far as like the fighting wise and the training, as you were speaking of, like as far as mentality wise, like it's a mental it starts to build like tough mental discipline again. Mm-hmm. As we'll talk more later about it. So yeah.
So you're born in the East Side. Mm-hmm. Both your parents were with you as you grew up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they were.
And then I'm assuming you went to school in the local areas there.
Yes.
Dealt with kind of the typical environmental things, which, yes. What year were you born?
I was born 95.
95. So there was a lot kind of changing in Long Beach at that time.
Yeah.
I can imagine some of the things that were around, mm-hmm. And that you kind of had to navigate life with. There's definitely a lot of activity in the city of Long Beach. It's a big city.
Yes.
And when you go block to block, it's a completely different ecosystem.
Yes, completely different.
Right? How much of that was a factor to you getting into this art and then becoming who you are today? Like, was this a necessity to start this art? Was this cultural? Was this something that Dad said, "Hey, I did it, you do it"? Like, how did it happen?
It was more so as both necessity and a cultural thing, because it's also our cultural art. Country of Cambodia is also like our pride as well too, mm-hmm. And also necessity because due to where I grew up, how I grew up, and the things that I've been through, the things that I've seen, mm-hmm. Also too, like I've had that mindset of wanting to be different as well, and I didn't want to fall into the the typical stereotype of being a Cambodian growing up in Long Beach and the East Side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a product of an environment that we've talked about a lot of times here with different guests. We had a friend from South Central, and he just talked about the challenges of growing up in that area and where he's at and where some of his friends are at, and much different places.
Right.
Similar story. Like if we were to look back at the 29-year-olds that you were in elementary school with, like what's the paths, and like what sort of difference do you see as far as the art and training and living a disciplined life, which again we'll get more into that. Like what's the variables? Like how do you categorize the group of people that you grew up with?
Group of people I grew up with, honestly, it's a lot of different categories. I mean, again, people fall into different groups, so you have some that are doing this, some that are doing that, some grow up to be like you would never thought they would grow up to be. Then you have some people who make it out of there and become very successful. And, some people who are very unsuccessful, which is, it's kind of really hard to see because you don't, it's like you see them again and you're like, oh man, like it's kind of sad to see that they ended up that way, and you want to try your best to help. So
yeah. When I think back to my high school days, there's like same thing. I have like a handful of like super old, like ultra entrepreneur types, right? And then operators and even like some newscasters and stuff like that. And then we've got some that they didn't make it past high school,
right?
Or I saw them a couple of years after high school, like on TV in a shootout with the cops, and
right.
So a lot of them have actually undergone reformation, which like I applaud, because I've seen people that I grew up with also that they managed to live through it all, and live some rough times, some of it incarcerated,
right, and
then come out and turn into healthy products of society, to live as family people. In my experience, it's more men than women that I've seen incarcerated. So I would say family men. I've seen this happen. Also have some experiences of people you grew up with that you've seen kind of come out of the stuff that the environment brought them into, and turn it around.
Yeah, of course. I've seen, honestly, there's a lot of great examples that I see in my life. People who are also even close to me too, like even as like family members. But I've seen a lot growing up, so I've seen most of them incarcerated and come out. Some of them, kind of stuck on the same path, and some of them who actually really make it out that stereotype and really do better for themselves. More importantly, and then when they do have families, they do even better, and then they're able to provide for their family.
Yeah, sometimes punishment is necessary, right?
Yeah,
and there's like this saying, like choose your hard, right? Choose it now or choose it later.
Choose it later, yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna do what I want when I want and be a free spirit. Sometimes the environment drives that mentality, but you're gonna end up paying a long, hard road.
Oh yeah. For sure.
And then hopefully make it through that, right?
Yeah.
Or you could, buckle down, or maybe there are things in our life that change us. And I'm assuming this is one of them, this art that you're so passionate and talented at. What else in your life has kind of taken you to a place where, you can be, like you said, not that typical product of the environment? Was it only the art, or are there other factors, people involved in?
There's people involved. Like I really like my brother is one. And also just watching like my family, like my mom and my dad. My brother he's a very big inspiration to me. He's an older brother. He's 13. We're 13 years apart.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So big gap.
Yeah.
But he still looks very young to this day.
So he's 42.
42.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he looks a lot younger than me.
You both still look young. You both still look young. Yeah. But no, he's a very successful entrepreneur. Like he's had me by his side, but I've had my share of like being hard headed.
Yeah.
Even though there's always that one person that wants to be there for you and is trying their hardest to be there for you.
Yeah. And
then you're just being hard headed. Again, goes back to not wanting to be told what to do, or you want to do your own thing. So that was me. I was that kid, and But no matter what, he stuck by my side. He was there for me no matter what. And even to this day, he's still there for me.
I want to touch on that a little bit because I think that's an interesting thought there. Like there are people that they have your best interests in mind. They're your ride or die actually. And sometimes, you know, I go through this a lot actually because I have a big family, right? But sometimes the ride or die is like a lesson in, you know, how available, how much resource you offer to people because there's like enabling things like this. But, you know, when you say you're being hard-headed, like in hindsight, like were there things that your brother was saying that you wouldn't listen to, you were aggravated by? How do you look back at that, and what do you tell young people about listening to like elders, listening to people that care about them, snobbing it off or rubbing it off as like an aggravation?
Right. So for me, it's just like as you said, you know, things that my brother would tell me to not do or shouldn't be doing. Like, you know, it was more for me like irritation. Like I don't want to hear it. Yeah. You know, and that's just me being real. Like sometimes you don't want to hear it. Sometimes you're like, not this again. You know, but you know, to all the people out there, honestly, I will tell you from experience, listen, because they're only telling you. They're not telling you to irritate you or to nag in your ear, but they're telling you because it's from experience. Yeah. They've seen things either far greater or far worse than you have. They've been through things far greater, far worse than you have. And you know, when you have that somebody in your life who's ride or die, who's there for you, really taking their time out their day and their life to be their help to you, you know, I would tell people really take it and really like savor that moment, because sometimes, again, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, people here today might not be here tomorrow.
You might not be able to gain the lesson, or
exactly.
I mean, in the end, it's like love, right?
It is.
People's just trying to show some love.
Yeah.
And it can be aggravating. We had a conversation about like culture and food. When I went to Paco's studio not long ago, and we were talking about like you go to a certain culture, and especially like Filipino culture, like you go to the house and it's like you're gonna eat and you're gonna eat more, and you're gonna take food home,
right?
And you know, without understanding the culture and how like important that is, like from either end, if I'm the one who has a party and then people start taking food home before the party's over,
right?
If I don't understand the culture, like I might be like, hey, what are you doing?
Right.
But that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other end, if I don't take food home, like what am I saying?
almost like a sign of disrespect in a way.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. So, you know, again, I think, you know, I like that train of thought that like we should be accepting of the love that comes our way, and the people that are trying to just love us, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be hard or easy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes our elders, sometimes our parents, sometimes it doesn't have to be our elders. It's just somebody who's more level-headed than us at the moment.
Right.
Says stuff that we don't like, or that we don't agree with, or that we're not feeling at the moment. So great train of thought there. So let's go into like actually, you know, getting into the art. What age were you at? Again, why did you start? Like who took you to the gym, dropped you off, or did they tell you it's up the street, or how did it happen?
No, okay. So I was already introduced to it when I was young, about middle school. I didn't really get into it until I got about like 14, 15. One day I was walking down the street. I was upset, got into a family fight, you know, family argument. I just bolted out the house, shirt off, no shoes. I'm walking down Anaheim Street, and you know, the gym is right there. At that time, the gym was on Anaheim Street by Pacific.
Yep.
You know, almost going towards the west side.
Right.
And you know, the Long Beach my kickboxing was there.
Yep.
I walked past by at the door, and I think he was just closing up, and Omri, who is the master there, he saw me. You know, he saw me crying. He's like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" You know, and he's like, "Well, come inside." So we talked. I told him about what happened. He's like, "Okay, from now on, you're my student, and you're gonna train here." Little did I know that two of my uncles who trained there, fought there, and actually were champions out of his gym. So which was very like shocking to me. When I seen that, it gave me the motivation I want to be on that wall.
Yeah.
That was my whole goal, like at first, So
who'd you see on the wall? Like
my uncle, his name is Samat Mung. He's also a black belt in Taekwondo as well. And my other uncle they call him Mao. We call him the leg breaker.
Yep.
Because he.
So I mean, I shared this with you, but I want to say 20 years ago, maybe a little more than that. I was at a local show and I saw Mao at a show, and I was into a lot of things at the time. I fought in different disciplines and some that weren't disciplined, like kind of early day stuff, right?
Right.
And I saw Mao, like his kicks, and then heard of the unique form of kickboxing at the time, which I was like, whoa, that's a thing.
Right.
Oh, the elbows are different. These are different. So I was like, oh, well, there's only one place like that I could find, and I ended up, whoa, that's where he trains.
Right.
Right. It was Long Beach Khmer Kickboxing, right?
Yep.
And the gym that you mentioned right next to a Mission.
Yes.
I can remember meeting Omri, a really great guy, and it doesn't surprise me the way he approached you.
Very big heart.
Real community.
Yeah, very big heart.
Yeah, care about the people in the gym, and I remember the way he ran the gym. Like I used to take my little kids there, and they would be there when I would be working out with him. And one of the trainers at the time, I think maybe he's still there, named Ron Smith.
Yep, still there.
But it was a very unique experience in the community.
Yeah.
Because I saw for the first time like Cambodian fighters, and then an art that I didn't quite master the understanding of, to be honest with you, but I gained a lot of respect for it, and a lot of respect for Omri. So shout out to Omri Ban, right?
Yeah.
Great person, great gym. There were people in the gym at the time that were undergoing like diversion type of programs in the city of Long Beach. It was a fun time for me as a young fighter.
Yeah.
But I think also an impactful program in a city and a community that needed it, and it's same sort of impact in your life. So you met from that day on. Now what?
From that day on, now I've just been doing my best to represent the culture, represent the Cambodian community across the world, and I just try to represent my school, my teacher, and just everyone, honestly, to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me like, well, what do you really do it for? Honestly, like as far as like money and stuff, like the fame like that, I honestly don't even really care about that. That's me being completely honest. Like I haven't touched that much money since being pro, but I do it because 1, it makes me happy. 2, I feel at home, and 3, I get to put on for my culture and my community.
Yeah, that's really. I think that's super pleasing when we're in a place that my family immigrated. Some of my family, anyways.
Yeah.
Your family immigrated, right? And it's so easy to. We've talked about this many times as well with other guests that. Like you come to America, or families come to America, and then all of a sudden they lose culture.
Yeah.
And you're sitting in this area of Long Beach where there's the world's second largest Cambodian community in Long Beach, right?
Yep, outside of Cambodia.
Outside of Cambodia.
Yeah.
So we're like so culturally diverse here in California, and we're really lucky. But I think it's a great thing, to preserve the culture, to preserve an art, which is a way of life, right?
Yes.
And it's not about fighting per se or hurting people. It's about a way of living that we'll dive into more. I think this really translates to people that want to be great at anything.
Oh yeah, of course.
The same rules apply, right?
Yes.
So I want to just acknowledge that you've got some friends online at Kobe Som.
Kobe Som, that's the nephew.
Okay, and then he just kind of put some exclamation points. You, Richie.
Richie, that's my teammate.
All right.
Yeah.
What's up, Richie? And then
what's going on, Richie?
Camila. And she's pointing out, and I think it's a good time to kind of highlight you're representing your culture, and at this point, like they say, hey, this guy is what's your nickname?
Yeah. So my nickname is the Prince of Cambodia.
That's badass, man.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Thank you.
So I mean, how'd you get that nickname?
While fighting, honestly, I used to have very stylish hair. As of now, it's like not as stylish anymore. But I used to have a comb over or a pompadour, with the part in the hair.
Yeah, I think we have that in the thumbnail picture.
Yeah. So I would start when I would go into the ring, when I start the fight, I would start with a comb over, and then I would walk out. Same thing, like hair almost untouched. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys gotta, we'll when we edit this up, we'll throw in some links to some footage because I was really impressed with just the composure that you have when you're fighting.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some emotion, but you do a good job of like masking and hiding that emotion.
Yeah, there's
like,
a lot of
good
emotions.
poker face. Jennifer Gonzalez, another friend, just showing love.
That's my sister-in-law.
All right.
Yeah.
Cash Mimi.
That's my cousin.
And so hey everybody, keep it. You have any questions for the Prince of Cambodia, send them in. I'm definitely interested in kind of understanding like what's the day in the life if you're a champion. And let's go through those stats really quick so we understand the level of accomplishment that you're at today.
So my stats, as far as I'm a 3-time champion, and I'm gonna just call it, I'm a Kun Khmer 3-time champion.
Okay.
Reason being I say that is because here in the States they don't really know much about Kun Khmer. They know Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Muay Thai. And I always tell people there's no wrong way of doing something. There's just always many ways of doing something. So if there's one way to kick, there's another way to kick. One way to punch, another way to punch.
So is this a promotion though, like a special promotion that is termed like Kun Khmer or?
No, Kun Khmer means Kun Khmer is like art.
Okay.
Ancient, right? And then Padal Saray is the art, right? So Kun Khmer would be like the style called the call of the style, the name of the style. And Padal Saray, which is freestyle kickboxing, translation into English. We utilize elbows, knees, kicks, of course. The same thing, just like Muay Thai, but a lot of the techniques are different. As far as style, I always tell people the fighter makes the style. But if we're talking about technique, then yes, technique. There's a lot of different techniques.
So when you win these championships, though, are you fighting only people who do that same style, or are they also fighting other styles?
You're fighting other styles.
Okay.
Like you have some people who have a background of like maybe karate, Kyokushin karate, or even Taekwondo. And then they go into Muay Thai, and then they kind of put the two together.
Okay.
So yeah.
Got it. All right. And so you've got the 3-time championship. Is this different weight categories? Or?
Yeah. Different weights. So 130, 135, and 140.
Okay. And is that where you're at right now? Like 140?
Right now, sitting about 140 right now. Yeah.
So that's where you walk around normally is at your fighting weight.
Yeah, I walk around 140, 145 at most. If I'm like, kind of binging on eating a little bit like that, I'll be like 150.
I mean, that's kind of atypical, isn't it? Like to fighters, because don't most fighters keep, 10, 12, 15, 20 pounds heavier walking around and then go through the spitting and the dehydration phase and all this sort of stuff.
Exactly. So with the weight cut, sometimes it depends on the promotion and who you're fighting.
Yeah.
So if I'm fighting someone, it'd be like, oh well, I have this fighter for you or this opponent for you, but the fight's going to be at 130. So let's say I'm 140. Now I have to lose 10 pounds by the deadline or the date of the fight. Normally, you would go through your training camp, lose that weight, and then the day before the fight is weigh-ins. So I would weigh in, and then now let's say I don't make weight. Let's say I'm 5 pounds overweight. So the commission, they allow you to be able to take that weight off, come back in about 2 or 3 hours, and then weigh back in. Now, if you're overweight still, you have the option of either stop not fighting, or you can give up 25% of your 20 or 25% of your purse.
Gotcha.
So, but if you're on weight,
you don't like that part, so you just kind of keep it tight.
Yeah. So
yeah, but I it makes me think of the recent fight with Ryan Garcia and just kind of the way he played the whole weight, and it was like, I'm not trying to go in there dehydrated or weak or things like this. So I think that's good if you can keep close to your fight weight. Walking around, that's great.
Yeah.
So again, day in the life. Back to the stats. So you got the MMA record as well.
Yes. So right now, the MMA record, I did just recently transition to MMA. And I will say this: a lot of people, they like to talk about their wins, but some of them don't like to talk about their losses. And there's nothing wrong with that. No downplay or downfall to them. But I think losses is a part of a person's stats or attributes, and I feel like you learn from your losses is mostly lessons, not really losses. So I'm not proud of it, but I did lose my all three of my fights. The first one was TKO. The second one was a decision, and the third one was, sadly, by knockout about like 1 minute and 30 seconds into the very last round.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so but fighting is a game of inches. And
so what's the lessons then? I mean, like, and I'll just share with you, like, I remember fighting, losing, and like I had this other fight, right? Like that made losing so much more personal, right?
Yeah.
So like I would like literally fucking cry, man.
Yeah.
Like if I lost.
Yeah.
Like I'd have to go like corner, like
yourself.
away from people.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. Nope, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Like I needed like a lot of time.
Yeah.
And only certain people could get through to me.
Yeah.
And it typically wasn't like the ones who loved me the most. It was the ones who like were training
Right.
me.
Because they understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an understanding thing.
So what were the top 3 lessons that you learned, if there are 3, from the losses that you took in the MMA?
Well, so for me, the lessons for me is that, life will throw you a curveball at any point in time. Any given time doesn't matter, and the second one is that it taught me how to maneuver, be able to take the outcome for it is what it is and maneuver around it and find a plan and be able to think on my toes. And the third one is just, study, do better, and then try my best the next time, Again, like I said, fighting is a game of inches.
So there's a next time for sure on the MMA.
Oh yeah, of course. No, right. I'm not stopping.
These are the building blocks.
Yes, building blocks. Everything, just like in anything, business, anything is there's building blocks to it, and I'm always going to keep on building. I'm not the best fighter. I'm not the most skilled fighter, but I will always do my best to put on a show, and I would do my best to fight my heart out, because that's just what I do. It's not easy being a fighter. Everybody, if it was easy, everybody be doing it.
Yeah.
But those are my top 3 lessons.
So the what about the Kunkai side?
Yeah.
What, like, I know there are the championships where there are also lessons in that road.
Oh yeah.
How many fights have you had? Like, what's that look like?
I've had on record, I had over about, I want to say, close to about like 40s, 50s, 50 fights on record. That's between both amateur and professional. But some people, I've had like some off record fights too. Not they call them smokers.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, are these amateur ones, are they smokers as well? No. So those aren't.
So the amateur ones are actually like
shows,
like actual commission.
Okay.
Ones. But you have some that are off record too, of course.
How many shows are you fighting a year? I mean, that's kind of a lot of fights.
When I was fighting amateur, I was fighting once every month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about this then. So, you're a high performer, that you have to perform your best for 36 minutes, right? And all of the month's work is highlighted at that time.
Yes.
So what's that work look like from kind of, the skills, but then like to have the best skills, I'll tell you, like, as a businessman, like I gotta have like some mental stability. I gotta have some rest.
Yeah.
I gotta have some support, like, which that's the hard part sometimes, you know?
For sure.
So what's the recipe for you, skills, and then all the in-between stuff, sleep, eating, mental wellness, family time, spirituality, all that kind of stuff?
Well, for me, skill comes a little bit like towards the end. Everything before that, it's a mental discipline, spiritual discipline, and physical discipline as well, and being physically fit. But anybody can do anything physically. It's more about like mentality and spirituality. Fighting is not just a physical thing.
Yeah,
it's a mental battle as well, and it can take a toll on you. So for me, it's like meditation, and just being one with myself, dealing with the world while also trying to get ready for a fight. It's not easy, you know. When you're trying to get ready for something that is like that people question, like, well, why are you doing it? When you're trying to get ready for someone trying to take your head off, the same way you're trying to take their head off, and you're just like, you know, I think you have to be a little crazy to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
not crazy bad, but like I enjoy it. I don't. And do I enjoy punching people in the face sometimes? No. Do I enjoy kicking people or hurting them? No. But it's what makes me happy. The same way he is doing it is the way I'm doing it too. But he may be doing it for a different purpose. So for me, like my key things are mentality.
By the way, so you, Richie, said no, his niece. So I guess that's not your teammate.
Oh, Richie. Oh, sorry. Oh, Richie is my niece. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I met her before.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
and
another
then,
Richie. Yeah.
I want to say hi to my grandson. He's checking in with both of us, James Rojas.
What's up, James?
He says, hi, Papa Chingon. So I got that name, by the way, when he was a baby.
Yeah.
I used to call him Chingon, and then he just called me right back, Papa Chingon. And so like that's the nickname.
Nice.
Moving forward. So like what time do you wake up? Like what's the normal, like, is there a camp that's different than life, or is life the way of life?
There's camp that's a little different, but it also applies like life is like camp in a way too, because camp can be very physically draining, the same way life can be draining as well, mentally, emotionally, and physically as well too. So
what's life look like then? Because I think, again, as a high performer, like you don't just do it sometimes. You know what I mean?
you do it
like,
all the time.
Yeah, it's like you got integrity, right?
Yeah.
And the stuff that shows at the tip of the iceberg, or that shows in the ring, or the octagon, or whatever, you know, structure you're fighting in, is the work of days and hours and minutes and seconds and repetition and things like this. So tell me about regular life. Like, how disciplined is it?
Oh, it's very disciplined, but patience is key. Patience is key, like to the max. But discipline, it's, you know, wake up in the morning, which is the hardest thing. I don't think it's the hardest thing. Oh, actually, you know, I take that back. I think waking up in the morning is probably one of the hardest things that we can do, because sometimes when we wake up, we're like, I don't want to get up.
So what time is that for you?
7, 8.
7. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're like a normal human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how old are you again?
29.
I think when I was younger, like that's about when I woke up. Now, like,
Yeah.
I wake up and I have a hard time staying asleep, like really, really early, because like there's so much that like I'm running out of time
Yeah.
to do. That's the way I feel. And like sometimes I just think like everybody's got no time, so why are they not up earlier?
Right. Yeah.
Or why are they not staying up later? But then
Right.
the's the bad part of that, right?
Yeah.
So are you balancing sleep? Like, is that a big part of your training? And
Sleep
your
is
ritual?
a big part, but it's also I have trouble sleeping a lot. When I do sleep, I fall into a real deep sleep, and it's nice, but most of the time I have trouble sleeping. Sometimes I stay up till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, then I'll go to sleep. And then,
So you need to stay to sleep till
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
So what comes after that? And you know, diet, routine, stuff like that.
Well, first thing is first. Like, it depends on the camp. Sometimes I'm fasting, or sometimes I'm having my breakfast, like my oats or my carbs or something, or fruits. Or first things first is water, of course, and fruits. Again, depends on the camp. But most of the time, fasting or having my carbs in the morning, so I gotta have something burned off. But if I'm really close to weight, or if I'm really off weight, then I have to kind of balance, like, as far as like what I'm gonna do in the morning. Am I gonna train in the morning, or am I gonna eat in the morning? Because all that plays into how like my camp is gonna go. So and then in the afternoon. So normally I'll train in the morning. And then until about like 12 or 1, and then we get into the afternoon. After that, I go and run my errands. You know, sometimes I go take care of my kids. I go pick them up from school or something. And then after that, drop them off. And I also teach class as well too in the nighttime. So I just trying to make time for everything. You know, just like you said, like sometimes you're running out of time. So for me, like it's the same thing. I'm trying to cram everything into.
Tell me about food. Like, are you eating as fuel for what you're doing? And then let's compare that also. Just go back to the culture. Like, are you eating your culture, like the food that your culture eats, or you have to eat something different?
Yes and no, because in my culture, our food is very high in carbs and sodium. You know, but
so what's the problem with that again? I mean, I'm just asking
sodium,
condescending question.
No, of course. But for things like that, when I'm in camp trying to lose weight, sodium can be a bad thing. Sodium is not really a bad thing, but for something like that, it can be a bad thing because it makes your body retain the water, and then the carbs, you know, fills you up. But so I try to stay away from that. Like,
so you're thinking from the fuel side and how it's going to impact you as an athlete. And I have to inject this. Like, you said there's the sodium and the carbs. Like, so a couple questions about the culture. Like, do you know a lot of people that have high blood pressure or diabetes in the Cambodian community?
Yes. There's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and most of them have like high cholesterol, high blood pressure. You know, and some of it's like passed down family. You know, like I know my mom has it. My mom has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and it's kind of difficult to watch because she takes medicine for it. Some are pre-diabetic and some are diabetic.
How does the culture feel about that, though? I mean, like, what's the culture of the average Cambodian in the United States or in the Long Beach, which you can speak to that, like towards, hey, you know, we have salty food or we have a lot of carbs and we get diabetes and we get high blood pressure. What do they think about that? Is it a problem or is it like
they don't think nothing about it, especially the older folks, the elders. They don't. I think it's because maybe they're not educated on it as we are. So for them, it's just like, oh, it's food, because you got a lot of them some of them are still on survivor mode, and some of them like actually had that education to where they learn about like certain foods is bad for your health, and some can really harm you or can help you.
Remind me to come back to the survivor mode, because I think that's an important cultural understanding. But let's kind of stick to the food for a second and the perception of diabetes and high blood pressure. What about like people in the community, like with loss of limbs or blind or kidney failure? You know anybody who has kidney failure and is on dialysis?
Not that I know of, but I do know a lot of Cambodian men, like all the elders. I know some of them have it, but
kidney failure.
But they deny it a lot.
So, I mean, if they deny kidney failure, that's a terminal.
Yeah, some of them don't like to go to the doctors.
Okay, so there's, I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
And then is there a different perception of medicine is it like Eastern medicine? Is it, Southeastern Asian medicine? Like, what's the same medicine or different medicine?
Different. Same and different. Like. Some, like if we're talking about like the elders they rely more on like natural remedies. Okay. Like herbs, tea, and if there is some medicine, then they'll take it for the most part. But for the most part, like through my experience, I've noticed that there's a lot of elders who take like Western medication, which is for like high blood pressure or high cholesterol, and then for the most part, they take herbs or they do like traditional medicine,
How about, like what with the art, it's an art, but it's also physically beneficial, right?
Oh yeah.
So how does the culture feel about exercise and physical activity? Is it a culture that says like you got to get up and move, you got to be functional, or is it a culture that is more sedentary and kind of succumbs to a lack of motion like a lot of Americans today?
I think it's the culture is they're very, very big on like just moving around, just constantly moving around, even if it's not like lifting weights or even if it's not like exercising like how we do it. they're very big on like moving around. I gotta move. I have to, because if I do, if I sit down, then
Freeze up.
I'm gonna freeze up, or this joint's gonna lock up or something. So they're very big on moving around.
So okay. So I'll get off of this topic, but it's like something really near and dear to me, and like really, the reason that we started this community was to bring like awareness to things that are going on that you can prevent.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, your art, or I should say the art that you are sharing with the world, and have now gained the Prince crown, right?
Yeah.
Is one method of staying healthy, or one of the tools to staying healthy. And when you say it's a tool, it's like multifaceted, because it's going to be good for you physically, it's going to be good for you mentally.
Yes.
It's going to be good for you like from a mindset, business, accomplish, you know, organization type of perspective as well.
Yes.
Talking about the food that is typical to the culture, and then the perception of ailments like type 2 diabetes and hypertension. Can you join our mission with us in, you know, as you share the benefits of your art, sharing how it also helps to prevent things like type 2 diabetes, like staying active, you know, being physically active,
Yes.
Sleeping well, having routine, you know, monitoring things, and like having metrics on your life is going to help to prevent things that, you know, things like type 2 diabetes and hypertension, but can lead to worse things like cardiovascular events, heart attacks, strokes, kidney disease, losing limbs because you have no circulation to your toe that you got a blister on, right?
Yes.
This happens all the time, going blind.
Yes.
Nobody wants to get to that point. So would you help us with that?
Yeah, of course.
As you go out, because you're a young guy, you've got the platform of people who are admiring your art, your accomplishments, and then a community that, when we talk about community, the only people who can talk to a community are people who are part of the community.
No, of course.
So, you know, we'd love to have you in on that initiative, and anything we can do to help support the community on that understanding, you let us know. We'll be there.
Oh, of course. I mean, I go through like health issues myself. I have high blood pressure, asthma, heart murmur.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, like, and I fight professionally. You would think normally like a doctor would be like, well, what are you doing? Stop, you know, but I think I kind of want to say like I'm in a way I'm living proof that like being physically fit can help a lot, you know, whether if it's like learning some type of self-defense, or even going to the gym, or within that nature, or even swimming, like, you know, it's very physically changing, mind changing. And
what about you? And this is going to get real personal. Do you see the doctor every year?
No.
Okay, so
I haven't seen a doctor.
Can we help you with this one too?
Yeah, of course.
Can you please see a doctor every year? Like you just told me something that, you know, I wouldn't be a friend if I didn't say, hey, if you had high blood pressure, are you seeing a doctor about it, and are you controlling it? Because like, you're 29 years old, I want to see you get to 90 years old. You know what I mean?
No, of course.
So yeah, let me challenge you with that one. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a fighter. Like sometimes fighting is that discipline. You know, and, you know, we got to get our checks.
No, of course.
Where am I at? Where do I got to be? Right.
Yeah.
If I'm up here and I got to bring it down, some of it could be maybe you're doing too much of the sodium sometimes.
It's more so I'm afraid, honestly.
Well, don't, man. Like, you're going to be more afraid when you get down the line and it's something that you could have stopped now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's a message we have to share with the community as well. It's
of course.
Like, if you're not seeing the doctor, then you can't know that, like, well, you're 138 over 88. Oh, it's a little bit high, man. Like, let's do some things different. Like, are you sleeping okay? Are you exercising? Are you watching your sodium intake and your, you know, the fats and things like that? Little things, right? Yeah. And then all you got to do is like, oh, I'm going to eat like one less salty meal a week. And then you don't have high blood pressure. Right. Versus you never see the doctor. And then year after year, it goes from 138 or whatever it was up to 140, up to 150, you know, and now you're averaging like 180 and stuff starts happening like kidney failure. So I'm not, you know, wishing this on you or predicting this. No, of course. I'm saying, hey, let's go see the doctor. To everybody who's watching as well, including me and Paco, right? We got to stay on top of these annual visits because we're like double your Paco's like triple. Just kidding, Paco. But he looks good, right?
I'm with with Savan because I'm also scared to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more of so like I'm afraid of the doctor telling me I gotta stop doing this. I got
I got told when I was very young and not at the elite level that you're at, but that I had to stop doing things that were same realm. Because I had like really severe allergies that came out when I sweated. Weird, right? Like
Yeah.
you're allergic to fucking exercise. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Right. And I couldn't go for it. So the doctor worked with me and my parents, and like I had this pen that I had to carry around in case
Yeah.
I got like a severe allergic reaction, and had to teach the people that trained with me, like, hey, if I stop breathing, take this cap off and jab the needle in my leg, right?
Yeah.
This is your passion. This is your way of life. You don't want to change it. So, that's what happens to people when they get sick, man,
Yeah.
is their way of life changes.
Yeah.
And you have this art that you love and that, the world deserves to share
Yeah.
and be enlightened by, right? You can't do that when you get, it all stops there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like people who have kidney failure, sometimes they lose the ability to like do their job because they got to be doing something else during that time, right?
Right.
So again, choose your hard, right?
Yeah,
So
now we're
I didn't know
there.
I was going to be preaching at you, man. But
No,
like,
it's okay. No, it's totally okay. It's fine.
go get it checked out. And Paco preaches at me every week about working out more. So
Yeah.
that's what we do here is like we hold each other accountable because we care about each other. You know what I mean? So your community, same thing. Tell them to get
No, of course.
their butt to the
No,
doctor.
of course. So
every
you
year.
guys hear that? You guys hear that? The same way he's holding me accountable, I'm gonna hold you guys accountable.
That's right.
You guys go get checked up. Check your blood pressure, check your cholesterol, and make sure you good. Okay, get your checkup every year.
So type 2 diabetes is like a number 7 killer in the United States.
Oh
which,
wow, I didn't know that.
there's like, 100 million plus people who have type 2 diabetes, right? Or are pre-diabetics.
Right.
And then people with high blood pressure, 1 in 3 Americans have it. So it's like very out there, and it leads to other things, like I said. So let's enough of my soapbox, guys. Thank you for supporting the initiative,
of
and
course.
we'll support you as well on the initiatives to the community. So let's get into the conversation of survivor mode. I've been lucky enough to meet some now they're older people that migrated from Cambodia during a time that was people today just don't even know about, and people my age may have started to forget.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, still palpable
Yeah.
in the community where it's, you see the generations
Yeah.
and you see the difference in view, and it's like, what did Grandpa see in his life, right? So can you tell us a little bit about what you mean by survivor mode and the experiences that you've had with family and friends?
Of course. So for me, being a part of a family, and I would say is a generational trauma. The things my mom and dad went through back in the genocide in Cambodia, it's honestly nothing that I can completely understand or fathom, because I know they've seen and been through way worse things than I've ever have, and most people,
Yep.
Now again, I'm not gonna sit here and say that, oh yeah, well, there are situations worse than this, but everybody's been through something.
Yep.
Mom and dad, in Cambodia, and then genocide happened from 75 to 79, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was 4 years, 75, 79, and then our country, Cambodia, was occupied by our own people.
What was the regime called again?
The Khmer Rouge.
Khmer Rouge.
Khmer Rouge, yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, in French, rouge means red.
Okay.
Like so, and in translation, it was the Red Army.
Okay. So like a communist group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Communist group, yes. And then so with that, our country got occupied by our own people. His name is Pol Pot, which is the man.
Yep.
So then many crazy, nasty things has happened. Like just things that we couldn't even understand or begin to even think of. Or
I mean, I maybe it's I can tell it's kind of a very difficult point of discussion for you. Like I said, I've met some older people.
Yeah.
And they had numerous children, and they have one. now. These sort of things, like they literally had their families taken from them.
Yeah.
The most horrific things in the world that have happened among other conflicts or occupations across the world, but this was a really a massive.
It was very traumatizing, like, and I'm not gonna get into much detail about it, but like just certain things, like for example, like this might be a little traumatic to say or to hear, but like babies were used as training targets,
right? Yeah.
Kids, brother, sister were stripped from their families and manipulated to think that their own families or mom and dad were their enemy. And kids were holding AKs, 47s, and just yelling at their own moms and dads. And if you didn't listen, anything could have happened.
So
any point in time,
like intra-family strong arming, like
yeah,
this is the way of life now.
Yeah,
propaganda, things like this going on.
And then and the thing is too, Cambodia, we lost a lot of our art and culture because of the genocide.
Yeah.
If
isn't this art that you do one of those lost
it was
arts?
almost one of those lost arts, and it's finally starting to come back. And it's really, before a lot of people didn't speak on it because like they were afraid to come out about it. But not that I want to be the voice, but if I'm gonna speak on it because one, it's my culture, my country, and we've been through a lot, and I think we've struggled enough, and it's finally time for us to really come out the shadows and stop hiding and really show the world who we are. Not in a bad way, but that like Cambodians, we've been through a lot, just as everybody else in the world.
I mean, it's really I don't know if you guys can think of like just fathom this from the mid 70s till today, like the complete restructuring of a culture.
Yeah.
And then a culture, a large immigration of Cambodians to the United States that have formed this pocket in certain areas, like Long Beach as being the biggest in the United States, right?
Yes.
Where the history is part of how things have evolved. And then you look through like the 70s and kind of my high school days, like the way things were, the people in the area were not prepared for individuals who had seen the things that the Cambodians had seen.
Yeah.
And then, trying to enforce the same sort of governments that we have in the streets here on people who have seen way worse.
Right.
Than, some little politics drive-bys, right?
Right.
So, my high school days were, there was a strong presence of the Cambodian community. But then, you think about the years of struggle here in the United States and, like you said, what's come out of Long Beach, we're starting to see culture reemerge. We're starting to see, like you said, people that are coming out of the community and being leaders in everything from apparel to, customs to businesses. I've met like so many really influential Cambodians in probably the past 5 years because I've been in a lot of business interactions.
Of course.
Some of them like I'm taking notes, you know what I mean? So, what can you say about that reorganization or that restructuring of the culture in Long Beach? Like what's exciting about the Cambodian community today? The art being one of them.
Yeah.
Are there new ventures? What are you guys doing with the school and the art? What else is coming out of the homegrown Long Beach Khmer culture?
Honestly, there's a lot to speak on because it's just like you said, the restructure of the culture alone, just bringing everybody back together. Like again in Cambodia, we're very cultural. We're about people. We're very welcoming, so and we welcome anybody into our culture, with open arms. We have no hate towards nobody. We don't want to make enemies because we're for the people. And as far as a restructure, like we're trying to bring back what the cultural art of Kun Khmer Padal Sarai, and also something what they call Robam. Robam is basically a dance that we do in Cambodia, where the women, they dress in very fancy and royal outfits, and they learn how to dance they bend their fingers a certain way, almost kind of like a art. It's honestly almost like in fighting art. Like if you were to translate it for the men,
I think I've seen it in a wedding before. Is that the same dance?
Yeah. So it speaks about like the beauty and how like the dance moves is mesmerizing in the same way how fighting goes is like is how for today is the same thing. So we use our those two, and also other arts too is like instruments, very unique instruments that we have, and the food that we have, where everything is starting to come back. And like like you said, a lot of Cambodian entrepreneurs who are becoming leaders in the community, they're starting to help restructure the culture of Cambodia, and just letting the world see like who we are, and it's honestly a very beautiful thing. And it warms my heart to see that, because it also it lets me know that like, all right, like nice, I like where this is going. Now it makes me work harder and motivates me even more to even want to put on even stronger and harder for my country and for my community, So yeah, it's nice.
So what's next for you? I know you've got some events coming up, fights, beyond fights type of things. I think you had a trip to Asia coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, so I do have a trip to Cambodia coming up. Right now, I'm just saving my body right now and just recovering and just staying fit. And for the time when the time comes, I go to Cambodia. This will be my first time, touching ground in Cambodia. So it'd be nice to go to the homeland. I was born out here, of course, but I speak the language, very well, fluently, and I understand it as well. So, like going over there and being able to speak with my people and the community over there would be.
What's the
really
event
nice.
or what's the venue?
It's a promotion. It's honestly a lot. Fighting out there is a lot different from out here. For them, it's like a job out there. So there's so many different promotions, and some like TV5, and I'm also in contact with a lot of the people there who set up like the promotions and stuff like that.
Are you scheduled to fight?
I'm supposed to, but right now we're in the talks. So
you don't know who your opponent is.
It's in the verticals right now. Yeah. So.
And is this like, what's the rules of this fight, or like what type of fight is it?
So there's actually different types of fights that they have over there. So they have a promotion, what they call mass fight. The fight, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 9 minute round, and you have to knock your opponent out. And if you don't, then it's ruled as a draw. There's another one where they have...
So only one way to win is knockout.
Knockout, yeah. Right. So, and then there's another one where if it's me and there's 3 other fighters, I fight one fighter in the first round. If I don't knock him out within that time, he gets out, the other one gets back in.
Oh, cool. Like an Iron Man.
Yeah, like an Iron Man thing. Yeah. And then they also have 8-man tournaments as well, too. And
So what's your preference in the style that you fight or the type of match?
My preference is just honestly whatever they want me to fight, and I'll fight. I have no issue with it.
I seen something crazy over there too, like some ropes or something.
That's how we used to fight back in the day. Well, before it was bare knuckle, and then we did the rope. And then,
did those mess you up more or what? Like that seems like that would be. Really
it can, because those ropes are
hard, right?
Hard. They're hard, and so then that when the French introduced to us the gloves, so that's when we switched to the gloves. And now, again, like you said, recently we just started doing the rope again. And it's nice because that's also part of our culture as well. So it's nice to see that come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems super dangerous, but
yeah.
You're like, yeah.
It's dangerous. Fighting is dangerous within itself. But
yeah, there's the fighting is getting pretty crazy, man. Like the stuff in Europe, and especially like Eastern Europe, like 3-on-1 type of stuff. Like I seen one that was like, it was like a man versus a woman, like a biological man versus a biological woman. And oh man, it was horrible to watch. But like, have you seen some of these things, and what do you watch? Like, what do you follow?
I follow a lot of the Cambodian martial art. I watched a lot of the Muay Thai, and then also, but I watched a lot of boxing as well and MMA. So but I do know what you're talking about though. I don't really follow those because only for the fact that I know that it's for entertainment.
Yeah, it's
a lot of it's
crazy, man.
It's
Like,
entertainment, you
or
know.
now they
like-
got the one in the car too. Have you seen
Oh,
that?
yeah.
You
Yeah.
sit in the car and like you got to beat the crap
Then they
out
have
of
the
each other.
phone. They have the phone booth one. It's so crazy.
I like the phone booth one.
Yeah, that was nice.
That's pretty cool. Like,
That's actually a nice idea, actually.
that's like a saying, isn't it? Like, isn't there a saying like something about like an English phone booth or something like
Yeah,
that? Like that's where you get your ass kicked, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice though.
I remember years ago, I was, a knucklehead kid, and I was in a bar, beer bar, and like, I don't know, I mouthed off to like some people playing pool, and then, man, this guy, he was like 4'6", like a gardener, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, man, he was gonna go kill me in the bathroom. I'm sure of it. He was like,
Yeah.
let's go in the bathroom, motherfucker. Like, I know he was just gonna shoot me or shank me in the bathroom. I was like, no, man, we're good. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, but like he was like literally like a foot. I'm 5'7", so 5'8". So
Yeah.
a foot shorter than me. And he was probably the scariest guy I've ever met, man, because he
Yeah.
was dead serious. And I fought a lot of scary people and had all those sort of things pulled on me. But this guy was like, he wasn't about like, let's do something right here. He was about, let's go in there and you're dead. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right. So trip to undetermined fight. When is this trip coming up? And
It's supposed to come in July. Just working on my passport right now. So
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
Just working on my passport, and once the passport drops, then everything will be smooth.
So that's the next thing. Anything else lined up? Do you know any fights that you got coming up?
No, not at the moment. No. I do. There is a promotion that's asking me to fight, but and apologies that I haven't gotten back to you. I've just been really busy, but no, I'm not gonna fight anymore as of right now.
MMA or like
Kickboxing.
Kickboxing.
Yeah.
So you train for like where are your headquarters? Where do you train? Where are all the locations?
So for MMA, I train in Hawaiian Gardens out of a gym called Metroflex. But
Okay.
my MMA gym is called Team Body Shop. My head coach is Antonio McKee.
Yep.
I train
Shout
with
out.
shout out to Antonio McKee, Team Body Shop.
Yeah.
Best team in the league.
They've been around for a long time.
Oh
man,
yeah,
and,
long time.
Where is that? Lakewood, right?
Lakewood.
Did they
yeah.
move or they're still
Yeah.
right there?
So we were on Lakewood and South Street at first, and then we moved to Metroflex over there off Carson.
I mean, so that's a really cool team because, oh God, I want to say, was it late 90s maybe that
Yeah.
senior
Uh-huh.
or father was a great fighter. I think he actually made a couple rounds in UFC if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then today, I don't want to speak out of place, but I believe his son is holding a belt, isn't he?
He's holding the tournament belt. He actually, so he held the 145 world champion belt and the tournament belt. So he was
For which?
for
promotion?
Bellator.
Bellator. That's right. That's
So
right.
he beat Patricio Pitbull.
Yeah.
And,
Twice, right?
They fought twice.
Okay.
He beat him the first time,
Okay.
and then he lost by decision the second time.
Got it. All right.
So, but either way, like AJ, he's
Really talented young man.
very talented, best
yeah.
of the best. I went to school with him. We watched each other's back. And there's times where we would have to get down sometimes. Not between me and him, but
Yeah. So it was you guys
Protect
you
each
ran
other.
together. Yeah.
yeah.
That's great, man.
So
It's good to have good people like that around you. Yeah.
yeah,
We were talking about in the face of danger, like people kind of shine through really
Yep.
quickly. I mean, one thing is like that kind of danger, like fighting and stuff like this. And the context of that discussion was actually about people giving up their kidney
yeah,
for somebody they love. Like, hey, my son's kidneys failed and he needs a kidney. Like, he says, hey, Dad, I need a kidney. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I go like, oh, it can get
Yeah.
scary, right?
Yeah.
Fights are the same way. Like some people just turn their cheek. Paco, CPR could be the same way,
yeah.
right? So Paco is a CPR instructor also.
Okay.
And he's got some really compelling reason why he teaches CPR. And I think a lot of people are in healthcare. They do things for a reason, but it's like people need to be prepared when they're needed.
Yeah.
whether it's to put their hands up or block, take the bullet, whatever it is, or to get down on their hands and knees and pump your heart so your blood can circulate to your brain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we hope from people that are around us.
No, of course.
That's who we should be surrounding ourselves with,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
It's like people who actually have our back
backs
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes
Very
back to
essential.
those people who are probably in your ear, getting on your nerves. Those are probably the same people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, seriously.
I mean, so you have those times, like, friends like AJ, but are there times where there was those people in your ear that went out and rode with you and said, like, we're going to go talk to that person, or we're going to go,
Oh, yeah.
something else, like whatever it is.
yeah.
You have those sort of moments as
I
well.
do. Yeah. I do.
I mean, I can tell you, like, even my parents have been in those situations with me, like, when I was a young man, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, it's your problem, my problem,
Yep.
even if you don't want it.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. I got a lot of those.
Yep.
I have a lot of those. But my team at Team Body Shop, they're like they're real ride or dies.
Yep.
Real ride or dies. Like they, like right away, no questions asked.
So you're 29. You're holding belts within the art that you've been committed to for years.
Yes.
You're breaking into a new discipline or a new fight form.
Yep.
And of course, you've set the building blocks. You've taken in some lessons. You have a certain number of years, and that's just the reality, right?
Yeah.
That you got a certain number of years that you can physically go out and compete with the people that are at this elite level.
Yeah.
Before we get to like kind of what's after that, all of that, like, what do you think about things like that's this guy's name, Jake Paul taking on retired
Mike
fighters, Mike Tyson being one of them. And I got to tell you, man, that is like one of my favorite fighters of all time. Just his mentality, but even his fight, because I was a kid when he was just punching people's heads off their necks, right? And then I've seen all those problems, right? But what do you think about not just Mike Tyson, but look at like some of the other fights that Jake Paul has done, and some of the influencers now, they're kind of taking on people who, they were great.
Yeah.
They're retired, and they're at an age where like very few can actually perform. We think about like people like Randy Couture in MMA, like well into his 40s and still beating the shit out of 20-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
But some others have not looked so good when they reach that mark. So what are your thoughts about that? Would you take a fight like that? Like, I'm 47 and I'm not challenging you, but would you do that? Like, I'm not challenging you, man.
No, of course. But if I'm being completely honest, yes, only because the fighter in me would want to do it and see where I'm at, and no, because I don't want to risk my health knowing like where I'm at. Like Mike Tyson, there was actually he has a podcast, Hot Boxing with Tyson, and there was he had Sugar Ray Leonard.
I'm waiting for him to invite me, actually. So.
Yeah, I know. I want to meet him one day. He's on, you and I both. But he had a podcast with Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah,
and there was something that he said. He was like, and I try. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be word for word, but
paraphrase. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, paraphrase. So he goes. I'm a student of war.
Yeah.
I know all the warriors, to Achilles, to to Hercules, to all of them. He's like, I'm a student of the game. I understand what it's like to be a fighter. The mentality. Now that he's not a fighter anymore, he's learned to have the art of being humble. But he's like, he's scared because when that person come out, like hell is coming with him.
Yeah.
So. And I really resonated with what he said, because it was like, man, because there was at one point in time in my life where I did take a 4 or 5 year break, and I was going through a lot at that time. And when I heard it, like I just like I cried, because I was like, man, like I know exactly what he's talking about. Like every time when I fight, like like it's coming with me.
Yeah.
And I cried, and I was like, man, and it made me feel when he's like, I don't want to feel like a bitch.
Yeah. I know that very well. I like watch it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's he's crying in that at that moment as well.
Yes.
And again, I'm 47, so like I'll just kind of take a walk down for you, like being a young man, being a hothead, fighting a fight, that got me into fighting.
Yeah.
And then taking that with me, and the losses were super hard, which made me not lose often after kind of building blocks, right?
Yeah.
And some hard criticism for losses as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But walking down that road of having that hot head, having all of that ability to inflict, right, which is a fighter's ability, and then it gets harnessed at a certain point. You look at Mike, early Mike Tyson, and man, he was just like, you could not control any of it.
No.
Eventually, he found like some composure and mentally, and it almost took away the tenacity. If you look at his career, right? And I'm not knocking Mike Tyson at all.
Yeah, no, of course.
I love this guy with all my heart, but I saw a certain point in his life where he wasn't the kid anymore.
Yeah.
He was, the man. And then like what I see from that episode, I think about myself as like a fighter. And then I was a construction worker when I was a kid. And like I used to be able to like holler and drink beer and like, just talk crap all day to everybody.
Right.
Like literally, like if I liked you, I'm giving you a hard time. That's the way that we interacted, right?
Yeah.
My dad was an iron worker, and we were part of a brotherhood. And as my age crept, and then my needs, at least perceived needs of like how I need to survive, I found myself into different discipline. But it carried over, like fighting and martial arts that I learned at a very early age carried over into business, to where it's like, okay, if I'm going to make the money that I want to make, like I have to find a way to work hard enough, gain a reputation in something, right? It turned out to be like educating and healthcare and stuff like that. But I'm not smart. I'm not skilled. You mentioned kind of skills in fighting, like, hey, but I work hard. I put the hours in that nobody else is willing to put in. If it takes you 1 hour to learn, I'll put in 3.
Yeah.
That's my mentality.
Well, that's a skill within itself.
Well, is to know that I take longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think I'm a stupid person, but I definitely take longer. And, I found myself in the same sort of discipline mindset as an entrepreneur. Now I will take full accountability that I should have maintained the physical wellness as well. You know what I mean? Like stay active, stay moving, stay flexible, stay fast, stay able to inflict, I think is important, right? And I don't feel that I lack that part, but it's can't last as long as it used to, right? Like is be able to fight. Like I could fight longer than I could run, right?
Yeah.
I hated running. It was like I could fight for hours, but running like, a couple of miles, I'm like, I'm done with it, right?
Yeah.
So, moving past this point of these years that you've got in fighting, a lot of hard work, a lot of early mornings, a lot of restrictions on what you want to eat versus what you eat. What's going to be, the 2.0 professional outside of fighting? You mentioned you're teaching classes.
Yes.
You're carrying on a tradition. Like, where do you see that going? Where do you want it to go? Let's speak it into motion right now, and get the community to support you on that as well.
Of course.
Because it starts a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your brand, your future self started the day you walked across the gym.
Yeah.
And Master Bond grabbed you and said, from today on, this is where you're at. So what's next?
Honestly, what's next for me is I want to start my own gym. I want to start an academy where I can offer many different disciplines. I don't just do padausarai. I've done a little bit of taekwondo here. I've done Dutch style kickboxing. So I've been able to implement everything into and mold it all together.
Ertz, right? Peter Ertz. That guy from years ago.
Yeah. Ernesto Hoos is one of my favorite kickboxers, and so I've been able to take all that and put it all together. So I'm able to offer certain styles, different styles, and as well. And I know jiu-jitsu and wrestling as well. So so I'm able to offer that as well too. So yes, from here now I do want to own my own gym because again I only have a certain amount of years left. As far as fighting wise, right? But I still want to be able to be in that how do I say that community where I'm still able to offer what I know and still do what I love. and what to give my knowledge to the kids and to other people who wants to learn, and just still now be able to pass that down.
I mean, I love that you have the culture part of it and the art of your blood, right?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I remember years ago just how it's a different feeling when you walk into a gym and there's like an art that is, let's say, like Taekwondo, right?
Yeah.
Taekwondo, and you go into the gym and it's all Korean, right? There's something to that. And I remember walking into that gym. It wasn't all Cambodian in the gym at all, but there was a very strong presence of senior people like your uncle, the leg breaker. Like I said, I saw that guy fight and I was like, I got to go to his gym, right?
Yeah.
I believe I have to see his face, but the name rings true of your other uncle as well.
Yeah.
Meeting your grandpa and some of the others there, it leaves an impression that there's like a community involved with the art, and the art is coming from that community.
Yeah.
It's kind of different, and I'm not knocking teachers that take an art and they're not the origin, the blood origin of that art. But there's a sense of authenticity to it and a different sense of the art itself. So I like that. And I could see starting, that's the core, and then building other tools to that repertoire. Because I think, I'm hoping what I'm hearing from you is the focus is the way of life, the art, not just the skills, the technical part of it.
Yes.
And I think about young men growing up and the good that I've seen come from training, whether it be martial arts or football. I'm going to shout him out. We haven't had him on the show or even, had any interaction on this, but Jason Brown, I don't know if you've seen this guy. Mm-hmm. He was on a Netflix series called Next Chance or Last Chance University, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a football coach,
I've heard
but
of it,
he really, man, this guy pours his heart into his athletes to the point where he helps people come from similar communities, where there's a lot going on and there's not a lot of resource, and they just need some positive people to kind of point the right direction to, like, this is how you get out of it, right? But the discipline that he has in his football program is, it's not just solid training and running drills and stuff. He's watching their grades, he's watching their behavior, whether they're doing dope, smoking weed, stuff like that. Like, athletes they're like teachers, right?
Yep. No, of course. And I'm even now, like when I'm teaching with my classes, like even with my students, like I'm the same way. Like in the beginning of class, I'm always giving like a little pep talk or motivation. I'm always giving motivation throughout the class. And then towards the end, what I have them do is I have them line up against the wall after we finish a class, after a hard night of class. I give them a little pep talk, like, all right, I'm proud of you guys. Keep it up. Look, while you guys are here, you guys everybody else is at home doing whatever they're doing. You're here getting 1% better, 1% tougher, harder, whatever it is. And, like, if you can do this, the same thing with life. You can always push through the week, finish hard. And I always instill into them what I've had finally instilled into myself after so many years, which is don't stress over situations you can't control. Let the outcome be whatever it is. And you just, find a plan, figure out a plan and maneuver from there. And I'm always instilling that into them. And I'm always telling them, walk tall with your head up, chest up, and don't let nobody alter your mood. Don't give nobody ever the chance to be able to have a say or control over your emotions or whatever it is that you do. You got to be able to.
That's powerful right there, man. The letting people control your emotions and what do you have control over, right? Like I said, you do have control over your emotions, and once you accept that, it's impossible for somebody else to, spoil your night, if you will, right?
Yes, of course.
I think that maybe have a sense of, like it may be a little bit cliche, but it's the mindset we have to have because, like you said, we can't control everything. No. The things we can control, if we actually leverage that control, then we can get better every day.
Yeah.
Even on a day where we don't feel good, where shit happened. Yeah. That, like you said, you can't control, right? So, Sovan, I want to thank you for coming out here, sharing your story.
No, of course. Thank you guys.
I definitely want to, you've got DJ C1 saying what's up. He calls you the champ, and we we acknowledge that as well. But
Yeah.
I'd like to know for the new audience, and we'll have an edited cut of this. We'll run some shorts, and for the new audience, for those of the people who are getting to know you for the first time, right? For the partners that we have out there that are looking at different people that are inspiring society, community, making changes. You've committed to an initiative to us tonight. Like, how do we support you? Like, what can we do to carry the story, carry the art, get you to your next fight? Like, what are the opportunities to get involved with you?
Honestly, just support, even if it's like a follow on my Instagram. My Instagram is the Prince of Cambodia, just exactly how you say it. There's no period, no spaces, no nothing. And honestly, just support. Like a little goes a long way. For me, honestly, it's just words of affirmation. Honestly,
Yep.
Great job, keep going.
Yep.
Whatever it is. And honestly, I take criticism as well. Before, it was really difficult for me to take criticism, but now I take it very well, and I take it for what it is, and I accept it for what it is, even if it's a negative or positive. I take it and I use that as fuel. So,
well, you don't have glasses on. I got to tell you, we wore glasses on our last podcast. We were, being fun, and we got some hate, like not hate, but just like some criticism. Hey, it's great. Like, take off the damn glasses. I was like, yes, sir. But we love our audience. Again, we're trying to just bring inspiring stories, inspiring people forward. Everybody follow the Prince of Cambodia. Let us know about the events, shoot it over to our socials. So when they're local, or, when some of the audience are in places that you're fighting, they can purchase tickets. Cause I think that's a great way to support a fighter as well, as show up at their events and bring those words of affirmation again. And, watching the challenges, the fights is actually a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
It's not just a brawl. You see the respect that, especially in the art that you bring. And we didn't talk much about it, but when you see like most type of kickboxing events in the United States, there's a lot of times a lot of ceremonial things that are respect fighter to fighter, and you just don't see people that. Let's ask one last question.
No, of course. Yeah.
So that aspect of sports today, we're losing a lot of it in a lot of venues. Today is more about, let me disrespect in a lot of shows than to respect. And two shows come to my mind right now is the UFC and then the events that are being held by one.
Yeah.
Do you see big differences? Do you have an opinion on kind of the respect that you have for your opponents? Is it appropriate to be? Is there a place for that?
Personally, so I'm gonna speak on it as from my experience. UFC, you do have some respectful fighters, but you also have some that are very disrespectful. Now, you have some that are trying to advertise and create, a momentum going. Yeah. Sometimes some of the fighters take it too far as like they mention other people's family members. Now it becomes personal, but at the same time, they use that as a fuel to gauge the fight and the momentum of the fight. Me being the person that I am, growing up in the household that I've grown up in and dealing with the people that I've dealt with, respect is a very big thing. Now, you can disrespect me all you want. That's perfectly fine. If that's who you are, then that's who you are. No downplay to you, no disrespect to you at all. But I've never been the type to ever talk smack. I just honestly don't see no purpose in talking smack to someone, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna earn your respect the same way you're gonna earn mine.
It all comes out in the ring.
Exactly. How can you hate on someone that's respecting you for giving you your all?
Yeah.
You can't. I'm not gonna hate on you. You came out here, you fought me. I came out here, I fought you. And so why can't we just shake hands and just be respectful?
I kind of feel like most of it is show, to be honest with you. But I've got a history of training, and some of the people that are still around, I know some of them, and it's real, man. They're actually just not nice people.
No, and
disrespectful to everybody.
Honestly, again, no downplay to them, but I honestly, again, my personal experience, I just don't see any real reason to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's what I'm trying to do is preserve the respect and tradition within the culture.
It was my last point here is that, you know, when I think about ways of life, it's something I want to teach my kids.
Yeah.
Or I want you to teach my kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want you to teach them how to defame, you know, demoralize, like just really disrespect.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to teach them, right?
Right.
Like we're lacking that today. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I admire that about you. Keep that up. Keep that
Of
forever.
course. Thank you.
Don't ever change for a show, man. Like I think today we need better show of people. And, you know, money's one thing, but the legacy that you're going to have from living the right life, you know, I'm excited to follow your path.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Of course.
This episode has been brought to you by Dialysis Education Services.